Congress passed a bill this week that allows banks to serve marijuana businesses in states where marijuana has been legalized. Colorado Congressman Ed Perlmutter is the bill's House sponsor. Congressman Scott Tipton, a Republican, joined Colorado's Democrats in voting in favor of the bill. David, this has to go through a Senate, but are we at the tipping point for at least legalized banking for the marijuana industry in America?
I think very possibly, yes. Representative Perlmutter's bill is the Secure and Fair Enforcement Banking Act, and it passed 321 to 103. So that's a very strong bipartisan majority. And Representative Perlmutter is an excellent and effective legislator in Congress today, just like he was back in the Colorado General Assembly in the 1990s. And over on the Senate side, Cory Gardner is the first original co-sponsor of the bill. He testified in favor of it before the Senate Banking Committee in July, and he's one of 5 Republican co-sponsors. So there may well be majority support in the Senate for this as well.
Marie, what do you think this is going to mean for Colorado? I mean, I realize it's not a fait accompli here, but it has more momentum than it's ever had before. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this just feels long overdue for Colorado. This feels like something that should have happened, what, 6 years ago now? So mostly I think people will just be relieved that we are finally taking steps to treat a business like a business, and they'll want to get it done. And so kudos to Ed Perlmutter for keeping the momentum going, and I hope Senator Gardner, he takes up his bill. It's a bipartisan issue. Let's get it done. I think Coloradans will be happy to see this delay stop.
Carlos, does this feel like a game changer for Colorado?
I do, and I sort of agree. Like, it's not really a matter of if this will pass, it's when it will pass. If this Senate doesn't pass it, 2020 Senate will probably pass it. And voters, as they more and more vote to legalize marijuana, it just makes a lot of sense to not have such a large cash-only industry. This exposes these businesses to violent crimes, creates logistical challenges for tax collection. Can you imagine showing up with duffel bags of cash to pay your taxes? It just sort of makes sense. And you can imagine, this industry is a $10 billion industry. The big banks want to tap into this industry. So I think the Senate will likely listen to the big wealthy banks and the special interests and pass this legislation. And then we could talk about how working class folks and people of color for years have been going to jail over marijuana, and now the big bankers are making money off of it.
Well, speaking of duffel bags of cash, Patty, what do you think is going to come of this? Is this finally the moment where folks can be writing or putting an ad in Westword on a credit card, even if it's about a marijuana dispensary?
Yeah, speaking of big bags of cash, I think, yes, it will finally pass, and this will actually help Cory Gardner somewhat in this state when he's campaigning. You know, more than 2/3 of the states now have some kind of legal marijuana, whether it's medical, whether it's flat out recreational. It's ridiculous that they aren't allowed to bank, that people who deal with marijuana industries but never touch cannabis aren't allowed to bank. So of course it will go through, and I think it will go through this year, especially now with hemp, which is a big cash crop in Kentucky, and there's still, some borderline issues there. I think a lot of this will get smoothed over, and I predict the Senate will pass it this year.
A reason for McConnell to launch it through?
Exactly.
Nicely done, Patty.